In development debates, we take a look at issues shaping the future and present of China. Today, we'll take a look at what experts have to say about champagne's future in China. The drinking market is seen as an untapped goldmine still by many in the adult drinking business. The most popularly consumed alcoholic beverages in China are low alcohol content beer and baijiu. The beers like Qingdao are often less known for their flavor and craft and more for their easy drinkability. The baijiu is tough to swallow and often judged on how hot or spicy it tastes. This is part of a fraternity-like drinking culture that measures a man's strength by his ability to drink large quantities at a fast pace. Many major alcohol brands have been trying to break into the market, but some have fared far better than others. Beers not so different from the local ones like Budweiser are a pretty common sight, but the fine and prestige of fine wines and champagne have been more of a taste for the super wealthy. Luckily for red wine, it can ostracize itself from the super snooty as production in China and imports from France have stayed at low prices. Red wine has found a large fan base in the country as a great present or for drinking at banquets. Having a red wine in a glass next to a red tablecloth surrounded by red drapes and the red national flag of China just seems to make more sense at a banquet, especially a government one. There hasn't been such an easy niche filled by champagne, though. According to Clementine Flesher of Bloomberg's Businessweek, champagne only recently gained popularity in the nation's $132.1 billion drinking market. But champagne isn't the only expensive and snooty drink available. So why is it struggling? It has been found out that drinks like cognac are selling much better than bubbly. According to Euromonitor, 900,000 liters of champagne in 2011 were purchased in China, which is minuscule compared to cognac getting 25.5 million liters. Jeannie Cho Lee of Wine Searcher thinks that efforts to push champagne hard should be curtailed, and instead that effort should be put into Japan, where cuisine is, quote, more delicate and refined. She also noted the poor figures in China. She said that Comité Interprofessionnel du Vin de Champagne's figures for 2012 shows that global shipments were 309 million bottles, a fall of 4.4% on the previous year. She noted that 2013 figures are showing a similar downward trend. On her point about focusing efforts on Japan, she noted that China is still far behind Japan in champagne, even though it's overtaken it in many other categories. She said in 2012, Japan imported 9 million bottles of champagne, while China accounted for only 2 million. While she noted that China's growth is promising, as it's moving faster than any other markets with imports rising by 51% in 2012, she also highlighted its lack of feminine touch. Champagne buyers in Japan are mostly women, which is different from the male-dominated decision-making in most of Asia. So maybe industry leaders have it wrong when they generalize China's market for champagne. Martine Riley at Pernod said, quote, Chinese people love France, the sophistication, the luxury that comes out of the country. He also said, quote, it's something quite deep-seated and puts products like cognac and champagne in a fantastic position. It's a way of drinking the luxury lifestyle. But Mintel was also quick to note, this highbrow taste isn't for everyone. He revealed that bottles are selling for as much as 3 times what they command in Europe because of import fees and hefty markups at bars. Other obstacles Mintel brought up were the slowing growth rate of luxury goods and tight controls in France on how champagne is made. The anti-corruption crackdown probably hasn't helped much either. And as controls in France are tight, champagne companies can't be as flexible as others. This has opened a market for champagne lookalikes that take advantage of a population not well versed in the rules of champagne. When Chinese people buy champagne, they usually buy in bulk and at clubs. But clubs can switch to real champagne with cheaper stuff, as the bottles are mostly for show anyways. A writer who goes by Olivier for marketingtochina.com thinks he knows how to spread the word about champagne. He saw that Moet Champagne by LVMH invented a sparkly wine just for China and spent a lot of money on advertising. Olivier thinks others should follow suit and also put large investments into communications or a joint venture. But of course, creating your own sparkling wine outside of the Champagne region of France isn't really making champagne at all. As the market for champagne has gotten smaller, those champagne salesmen in France have placed their bets on China making up for it. However, the bubbles don't seem to be sitting too well at the moment. Preference for champagne in China is really just limited to image-conscious wealthy people and in big city clubs. Champagne isn't made to be stored for years like wine or cognac, so it's not really viewed as an investment like those products that are thriving. So maybe they will have to find their bonne chance in Japan.